Okay, in Acts chapter 14, we're going to continue on the first missionary journey of Paul, and Barnabas is with him. It says, the same thing happened in Iconium. Paul and Barnabas went to the Jewish synagogue and preached with such power that a great number of both Jews and Greeks became believers. So they're again in the synagogue, but both Jews and Greeks are starting to trust in the message of Jesus. Okay, so let's take a look at the map again. So here we are in the region of Galatia, and we're in the city of Iconium, still on the first missionary journey of Paul. Now it says back there in Iconium in verse 4, the people of the town were divided in their opinion about them. Some sided with the Jews who were preaching against Paul, and some sided with the apostles. So what happens is they end up fleeing to Lystra and Derbe. It says this, that while they were there at Lystra, Paul and Barnabas came upon a man with crippled feet. He'd been that way from birth, so he had never walked. And it says that he goes and he's talking to them. He heals this man, and this guy gets healed. And the crowd, it says, saw what he had done, and so they shouted in their local dialect, "These men are gods in human form." And they decided, this is a little comical, but it says that they decided that Barnabas was the Greek god Zeus and that Paul was Hermes, since he was the main speaker. Okay, so back to the map. Here we are now in Lystra, where they're being confused for Zeus and Hermes. And of course, when you read on in Acts 14, you'll see that they said, no, that's not who we are. And they pointed people to Jesus once again. Now, back to the Bible, it says in verse 19, then some Jews arrived from Antioch and Iconium and won the crowds to their side, and they stoned Paul and dragged him out of the town thinking he was dead. But again, you can read for yourself. It turns out he wasn't dead. So he gets up and they go to Derbe. And it says in verse 21, in Derbe, after preaching the good news and making many disciples, Paul and Barnabas returned back to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch of Pisidia, where they strengthened the believers. They encouraged them to continue in the faith, reminding them that we must suffer many hardships to enter the kingdom of God. And they also appointed elders in every church. With prayer and fasting, they turned the elders over to the care of the Lord, in whom they had put their trust. So let's take a look at that one more time on the map. So here they are in Derbe. More people believe, and then they circle back. They end up back here in Antioch. They appoint some elders there, and then we're going to see they're going to head back through Pisidia and through Perga, and they're going to end up going all the way back through the Mediterranean back to Antioch in Syria. And we're going to find out that that's where they're going to sort of, hang out for the next couple of years. It says that at the end in verse 27, upon arriving back in Antioch in Syria, they called the church together. They reported everything God had done through them and how he had opened the door of faith to the Gentiles too. Okay, so here they are, the end of missionary journey number 1. Many people have come to faith, and all of the Christians back home are excited about it. So anyway, you're ready now to read Acts chapter 14, and we'll see you tomorrow for chapter 15.